A very good evening, everyone. Welcome each one of you who have taken out time from your busy weekend to attend this post-budget discussion. Today, our Finance Minister, Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, revealed Union Budget 2025 and proposed various changes with special focus on Gyan. Gyan is Garib, Yuva, Annadata, Nari. That means the poor segment, the youth, the farmer, and the women. And most interestingly, the much awaited relief for taxpayers with exemptions in direct taxes. So, to understand what budget holds for a retail investor, we have invited Mr. Ashish Somaiyaa, who is Executive Director and CEO of White Oak Capital AMC. Ashish is responsible for strategizing, growing, and managing the domestic operations at White Oak Capital, a highly differentiated equity fund management firm managing mutual funds, AIF, and PMS strategies totaling over $3 billion. dollars. Before White Oak, Ashish served for nearly 8 years as MD and CEO of Motilal Oswal AMC. Ashish has contributed a lot to the industry for almost 25 years now. Young and dynamic CEO, aiming to set another milestone in the mutual fund industry. It's going to be an interesting talk to hear him and his innovative thinking and view on the personal finance in respect to the budget. I hope it will give you all a very better understanding of long-term impact of the budget announcements. Without taking much time, I would request Ashish to share his thoughts with us. Anyone who is having any question may use the comment section, and we'll try to take some questions from that. So let's begin, Ashish. For
Yeah.
me, this budget is not only the budget for 2025-26, but I believe focusing on the consumption primarily, it's the budget keeping a long-term vision. So please share your views on the same. Thank you.
Yes, Mohit. So, maybe I'll share my reading and few opening comments, and then, we can make it interactive and, also take
Absolutely.
questions. So,
Yeah.
Mohit, two, three things first, which I want to share before I talk about the budget itself, just two, three things for our listeners to keep in mind. See, first is that everything doesn't happen inside the budget, correct? Meaning what the government does in terms of fiscal roadmap, in terms
Mm.
of managing the economy. Budget definitely is one important announcement. But as you
Yeah.
must have seen in the last few years, I'll give you a few examples. All the production linked incentives, the very big corporate tax cut, correct?
Mm.
The free trade agreements that the government does, say with UAE, UK,
Yeah.
Eurozone, right? So I've given you here two, three examples that these are things which have big economic impact.
True.
Corporate tax cut, production linked incentive for certain sectors, free trade agreement for multiple countries. I'm sure
Yeah.
everybody agrees these things have big impact, but they don't happen in the budget,
Yeah.
correct? Even before the budget came, the government made another landmark announcement of instituting the eighth pay commission,
Right.
right?
Yes. Yes.
So we had, I think sixth pay commission in 2008,
Mm.
seventh pay commission in 2016, and
Yeah.
now the eighth pay commission,
Yeah.
correct? So what I'm trying to say is that don't judge it based on just what you hear in the budget, and
Mm.
definitely don't judge it based on how the stock market behaves.
Yeah.
Because for example, if you go by the stock market reaction today, you would assume that it's not a good budget.
Yeah. True.
So these are the disclaimers to keep in mind that first, everything doesn't happen in the budget, and second, don't judge the budget based on how the stock market behaves in those few hours. Right
Right. Right.
now, elaborating a bit on the stock market, see, in the last 3 to 4 years, what has happened is that the government has played a very important role in
Mm.
pushing up the capital expenditure,
Yeah.
correct? And, railways, defense, infrastructure, public sector enterprises, which are policy driven. These are the areas where people in the stock market have made huge appreciation,
Right.
correct?
Yeah.
So what happens when something has been working for last 3 to 4 years,
Mm.
when something has given a lot of return to people
Mm.
in last 3 to 4 years,
Mm.
automatically those things will outperform. Then
Yeah.
people have a tendency that they will put money only what is outperforming. So
Yeah.
what has happened in last 3 4 years? Before we get into the budget, what has happened in last 3 4 years?
Mm.
Everybody's demat account and everybody's folio everywhere. There is a lot of PSU, railway, defense, infrastructure, capex.
Yeah.
So what happens before the budget starts?
Mm.
I want to hear what I want to hear because that is in my portfolio,
True.
right? And that is
Yeah.
what I'm hearing since last 3 years. Now what
Yes.
has happened? This is where I made a lot of return. But in last 6 months, these are the sectors which are down 25-30% in terms of price movement.
Yes.
In last 6 months, we are hearing that, okay, government was busy with they announced 11 lakh crore capex, but they were
Hmm.
busy with election. First 6 months, we were having election, then election result, then government formation,
Hmm.
and then, uh, budget, interim budget, and then so
Hmm.
many state elections. So first 6 months of this financial year,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
people made money in the past, those sectors are down 25-30%. On top of it, you're hearing that government did not spend what they were supposed to spend.
True.
So now you keep this setup in mind that before the budget starts, what I want to hear, I
Hmm.
meaning public at large, what they want to hear.
Yeah.
So they are used to hearing about grand plans on capex and big bang announcements that, okay, we are spending 5 lakh crores on defense. There is a PLI for defense indigenization.
Yeah.
You want to hear that, we will have this 3 lakh crores on railway. You want to hear, so right now, but governments are governments. Their priorities will change because government is not for stock market investors. Their priorities
Hmm.
will change. Right? I mean,
Hmm. Hmm.
10 years back, you and me were, when we were following the economy and listening about governments, 10 years back, what was the criticism? That our governments are profligate. They are doing only revenue expenditure. Our
Huh.
economy is working only on consumption.
Right.
When will we have infrastructure? When will we have industrialization? We
Hmm.
have come such a long way that now the criticism of the government is that consumers are suffering. The
Yeah.
government is not spending enough.
Yeah.
Ulta ho gaya na,
True.
right? They've come
That's
such a
why.
long way, such a
Yeah.
big journey.
Yeah.
10 years,
Yeah.
the criticism was that you are not doing capex. You are spending only money on the subsidies and dole outs.
Yeah.
Few months back, the criticism was that, boss, you are doing capex and all is fine, but weaker sections of society and poor middle class guys, they are crying
Not
because they are
consuming.
not getting enough in their hand.
Yeah.
इतना उल्टा इतना ट्रैवल कर लिया हम लोग ने डिस्टेंस, तो क्या है कि मार्केट तो मार्केट है, बजट चालू होने के पहले मार्केट में लोग डिसाइड कर लेते हैं आज हमको क्या सुनना है, अगर ये सुनेगा तो हम खुश है, ये नहीं सुना तो हम खुश नहीं है.
Absolutely.
In this context, the budget has come, and now see what is the point. The point is there is we couldn't see much negative in the budget.
Yeah.
See, because if you can bring down, if you can bring down the fiscal deficit to 4.4%,
Yeah.
you may not have given big growth, but you announced 11.2 lakh crores for capex. So you are bringing deficit to 4.4%. You are continuing with the capex also,
Yeah.
and you are able to give 1 lakh crore ka riayat to all the taxpayers.
Yep. Yep.
So budgets have to be seen in a particular context, and in the context, it is fair and square. It's a optimization, right? Your portfolio management, your economy, these are things for optimizing. They're not things for maximizing.
Right. So this is a kind of, I would say, balanced budget, considering
Yeah, I mean,
optimization.
so in the context we are operating in, they have optimized. They ensured deficit is 4.4 because see now we are in all these global bond indices. Now we
Right.
have to stick to a fiscal path which we committed. We cannot say nahi agle saal dekhega.
Absolutely.
See, couple of years back there was COVID. Nobody
Yeah.
questioned your deficit going to 7.5%. That time nobody questioned.
Yeah.
But now that things are normalizing, you have to stick to your plan. So you
Yeah.
stick to that plan. At the same time, yes, we in this year we did not spend what we were supposed to spend, so we spent less.
Yeah.
Now next year we are saying, okay, we'll cover up and we will spend as much, right? So
Right.
this year instead of 11 lakh crore, they are going to do 10 lakh 20,000 crore of capex. But
Hmm.
they're saying,
Hmm.
okay, next year I will do 11 lakh 20,000 crore of capex. So they are
Yeah.
maintaining or marginally increasing the capex.
Right.
At the same time, now you see three, four things.
Hmm.
In every, because the consumption and the weaker section of society is suffering, in every state election,
Hmm.
the states are promising, and some of them are BJP states. They are
Yeah.
promising to give money to, fiscal support to weaker sections of society, and importantly, in the hands of women. So that is better utilized.
Hmm. Hmm.
Correct.
Hmm.
Then
Got it.
we are giving 1 lakh crores of this tax, concession, money
Concession.
directly to the taxpayers. And
Yeah.
then we are announcing eighth pay commission. So what I'm
Hmm.
saying is that government's priorities can change,
Hmm.
but it's not necessarily a bad budget given the context we are operating in. And
Right.
finally, two, three things. Our problems have not started with the budget. The market is not down anything to do with budget. Our problem started in September, October when a
Yeah.
Trump trade started,
True.
right? US market was supposed to get a right-wing business-friendly president. So
Hmm.
US market started rallying. All,
Right.
he is saying about tax cuts, he is saying AI investments. So
Hmm.
US market started rallying. Obviously,
Yeah.
US market started rallying, so US dollar appreciated so all emerging market currencies have depreciated.
Yes.
All emerging markets have seen outflow.
Yeah.
So our problem didn't start with our market. Problem started with the way US has shaped up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct. So we have to wait for US something, the US market to normalize, the dollar to come under some stability. We have to wait
Yeah.
for that. We have to see actual pronouncements. Like for example, our government has to do some trade deals and trade agreements with US, right?
Yes. Yes.
That doesn't happen in the budget. We have
Yeah.
to see. Now Mr. Modi is going to US and they are going to make some announcements. We have to watch for that. We have to watch
Hmm.
for RBI policy,
Right.
right? In December alone, because there was a deficit in spending, in December alone, the government has spent 1.7 lakh crores in
Hmm.
capex.
Yeah.
All these projects and all. So what I'm saying is that three things to recap. Budget is not as bad as market portrayed it. Market
Yeah.
didn't get to hear what they wanted to hear, so there is some
Hmm.
temporary reaction.
Hmm.
Second is budget has to be seen in the context.
Hmm.
It's a good balance. And
Yeah.
third is that lots of things happen outside the budget. The economy doesn't run only on what is said in 1 hour on the budget speech, right? So these things we have to keep in mind.
In fact, I believe the market is now matured enough that only the budget doesn't play the biggest role to have that kind of movement in the markets. But a lot of things are already predicted that how the government is behaving and how the government is focusing on things. And that is how market has already consumed that information. That is what we can also see from this budget and the movement in the market. Great, great. What kind of Ashish you feel from the retail investor point of view? Of course, when we say, or most of the experts since morning have expressed their views that the budget is primarily consumption focused. So, how do you feel this additional 1 lakh crore of flow in hand of the investors? How the investors will behave? Whether this money is expected to come in terms of investments, whether you feel that it will be a expenditure, direct expenditure, to how you feel that will impact the investment behavior of the customer.
See, I mean, it will all be obviously individual to individual or family to family. But let's say if there's just one couple, in a
Hmm.
typical metro city like Mumbai, Pune, etc., if there's one couple which earns say 20-25 lakhs, this is not a small
Right.
amount which is going to be
Yeah.
given as a tax concession.
Yeah.
Generally, in past, it has been seen that these kind of activity, this kind of stuff, it results in more saving.
Hmm.
Correct. It results in more saving.
Right.
It would also result in more, travel, those kinds of discretionary spends, for example,
Right.
white
Right.
goods, discretionary spends, more saving. And
Yeah.
I'm repeating myself, but I would be equally bullish on that eighth pay commission when it comes. It will come
Yeah.
1 year later, but it will come with the arrears.
True. True.
That's what I
True.
understand out of it.
Additional
So I think
flow.
yes, consumption, tourism, all of these will see white goods,
Yeah.
automobiles. All of
Yeah.
these things do tend to, like I distinctly remember in 2008, we had Lehman crisis,
Yes.
but
Yes.
October, November, December 2008, the last calendar quarter of 2008, till
Hmm.
that point in time was Maruti's highest sales ever. That
Yeah.
quarter, I mean, the world was reeling with Lehman Brothers, but that
Right.
quarter was Maruti's highest ever sales since
Wow.
1984 till 2008. Highest quarter ever when that
Right.
pay commission was announced. So, of course, now what we are, why, I mean, I know that we are not talking pay commission, we're talking budget, but the point is that when people get incremental money in their pockets,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
generally got to do with maybe a little bit of saving and investing, but actually more to do with discretionary spends. And discretionary spends is typically white goods, automobiles, and maybe tourism and those kinds of things.
Got it. So ultimately, this will be, of course, a cash in hand, additional cash in hand in the pockets of retail investors, and people definitely want to have a best use of it. We, as distributors, we
You are just
always
being by asking me. Bajaj Finance will have the best insight into this.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Our interest will definitely be on the focus of the spending of the customers, and we always recommend some kind of SIPs from the additional distribution income
Of
customer is gonna
course.
have. Great, great. There's one question that how do you see this budget impacting markets in medium to long term? Though you have already mentioned a bit that this budget is not only the factor which we should consider with the behavior of the market, but overall, in the medium to short term, do you have any view that how the budget will impact the markets? If we talk about the impact of this budget itself.
See, I think, even before the budget came, the market was witnessing, Mohit, some sector rotation. I
Right.
told you that, for 3 years, 2021, 2022, 2023, and even part of 2024,
Mm-hmm.
we have actually seen that, macro policy driven sectors,
Yeah.
cyclicals, that was doing well.
Right.
In last 6 months, we have seen IT, pharma, financial services,
Hmm.
these kind of sectors actually outperforming and the previous winners actually becoming the laggards. So before we came to the budget itself, there was a sector rotation already in play. I think that is only going to get more accentuated.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
That's the thing. It's not that, like for example, I would say that we are positive on, say, manufacturing.
Right.
We are
Right.
positive on financial services, positive on IT,
Yeah.
healthcare, and maybe consumer selectively. For us, consumer is not so much consumer staples. We have always been more positive on all this, say, quick commerce and more positive on discretionary
Yeah.
consumption.
Right.
So I think there is already a sector rotation underway, and
Yeah.
this budget and the way the focus has been, and the upcoming events which I told you will only
Yeah.
accentuate that. And lastly, market always works on relative value.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Certain things which have gone up, see, because if you see last 3 4 years, Nifty
Right.
itself has not given outlandish return.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Nifty is even like, mid-teens or low teens return. That is its long-term average. Nifty has not given crazy return. What has given crazy return is all this PSU, railway, defense infra. And
Absolutely.
private
Absolutely.
sector financials and healthcare and IT and some of these sectors were underperforming for last 3 4 years.
Yes. Yes.
तो
Yes.
मार्केट में हमेशा ऐसे होता है, जो अंडर परफॉर्म कर रहा होता है वो सस्ता होने लगता है, ऐसा कोई ट्रिगर या इम्पीटस आता है तो
तो
वो
वो शूट
बढ़िया
करके रिटर्न
चलता
आता
है,
है.
पहले बहुत एक्सपेंसिव हो गया है वो करेक्ट होने लगता है. So that's how
Hmm.
the market works. And I think what happened in June for election, what happened after October market, October till January, the market crash, and this budget, all of these things is an impetus to that relative value rotation.
Absolutely. In fact, that is the only reason why we always recommend our investors to explore mutual funds to be
Of
part
course.
of their portfolio because tracking individual stocks or a sector or an industry is very difficult for individuals.
That's
So
right.
that is how mutual funds definitely play a very good role. There's one more thing. The budget showed that focus on AI. Right, there's the additional budget of let's say 500 crores or so in setting up some AI AI division, primarily for focusing on agriculture, health, education. How do you see this AI term, which everyone is using right now? How this particular initiative will give an impact uh, to the economy?
Yeah, I think, so definitely I noted that, but when it came to AI and innovation, what I also found, in addition to what you pointed out, what I also found interesting was that, they mentioned that Indian Institute of Technology and Indian Institute of Science, they will give some 10,000 fellowships,
Yeah, yeah,
which will be funded by the government, for research projects. I think
right,
those are the kind of things, where some good projects, for
yeah,
example, IIT Madras is already known for its innovation lab, right?
right,
So, these kind of things where, you give some kind of, support for research projects or, fellowship to, arrive at institute and do a project. I think those things have far reaching consequences. So
right,
that is very positive. And of course, like you said, I mean, see, right now AI is the buzzword, it's top of mind, right?
yeah,
But I would, I'm not saying AI will not come and, change the way we work or change the way
mm,
businesses operate. But my
yeah,
personal opinion is that, and I'll be very conscious or careful in saying this, but my limited understanding or my personal opinion is that whenever a new technology or a new thing comes, there is this initial hype and euphoria. And,
right,
then that initial hype and euphoria dies down, and then the real use cases come in front.
yes,
So let's
yes,
understand that, in the late 90s when internet came, if you
yeah,
observe our stock market or if you
mm,
observe in US, like
mm,
see in last 2 years since since ChatGPT, OpenAI came in last 2 years, what has
right,
happened is people have been saying that there'll be more chips, so NVIDIA, data
mm,
centers.
Hmm.
power generation. यहाँ तक कि भाई Amazon is talking about setting up nuclear power plants, right? Because they
Yes.
run data centers,
Yeah.
right? And there is all these servers and processing and advanced chips and
Hmm.
so in the US for the last 2 years, the broad market is underperforming. Only 7, 8 stocks. All this Nvidia, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, that is all just flying. अभी
True.
ये
True.
जिस तरीके से एआई को लेकर के एआई के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, डेटा
Hmm.
सेंटर्स,
Hmm.
एनर्जी, चिप्स,
Hmm.
जो
Hmm.
एक्साइटमेंट है वो
Hmm.
लेट 90s में सिस्को के साथ था.
Yeah.
क्योंकि इंटरनेट की when people started talking about internet, they used to think कि भाई the whole world will be full of routers and optic fiber cables only. That is how
Right.
internet will go everywhere, right?
Right.
In India also, Sterlite optical fiber and Aksh optic fiber and some company making router and. So what
Yeah.
happens when a new technology comes?
Hmm.
There is an initial hype and euphoria, initial focus on the infrastructure related with that technology. That hype and euphoria settles down, the
Yes.
infrastructure recedes in the background, and the real
Hmm.
use cases come. See,
True.
1995 में अगर आपको हमको कोई बोलता कि the real winners of technology, the
Hmm.
real winners of internet will be some
Yeah.
guy supplying food to your house, you wouldn't believe
Right.
it,
Of course. Of
right?
course.
Late 90s में आपको कोई बोलता कि इंटरनेट का सबसे बड़ा बेनिफिशियरी आपके
Hmm.
घर पे कपड़े पहुंचाने के लिए, खाना पहुंचाने के लिए और क्विक कॉमर्स और ये सब, दे विल बी द बिग बेनिफिट ऑफ इंटरनेट. आपको ऐसा कोई बोलता 20 साल का, आप बिलीव ही नहीं करते. तभी तो सब लोग
Absolutely.
सिस्को और ऑप्टिकल फाइबर और राउटर और ये सब खरीद रहे थे,
Uh,
राइट?
uh,
सो व्हाट आई एम जस्ट सेइंग, आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि भाई एआई को 20 साल लगेगा. आई एम नॉट इवन सेइंग इट्स नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट. आई एम जस्ट सेइंग दैट
yes.
राइट नाउ वी आर इन द अर्ली फेज.
Real use cases are yet to
Settle down
come.
and let the real use cases come.
Yes.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Like your, yeah, like your firm is known to be having the best CRM and the best data lakes and the best systems.
Yeah.
Guys
Yeah.
like you will present us the real use cases of AI. वो जो
Absolutely.
सवाल आप गूगल को पूछते थे वो सवाल अभी आप चैट जीपीटी और डीपसीक को पूछते हो. दैट्स नॉट द रियल यूज ऑफ एआई.
Yeah.
The
And in
real
fact,
use
I
of AI is an agent which will work on top of all these kinds of data structures, which
yes.
companies like yours are utilizing technology. You are the best guys to show us the real use cases. वो तो
Right.
जब आएगा अभी तो ऐसे
Yeah.
हाइप चल रहा है.
In fact, I would say regulatory requirements are very much important for this as well. And I believe जितनी स्पीड से एआई का यूज केस इंडस्ट्रीज में फॉलो हो रहा है उतना स्पीड से रेगुलेटरी रिक्वायरमेंट्स भी फुलफिल होना बड़ा जरूरी है सो एज टू मेक श्योर द टेक्नोलॉजी शुड नॉट बी मिसयूज्ड at the in the wrong hands.
Absolutely.
One more very interesting thing I noticed the budget is introducing 120 new air destinations. Right, I believe tourism is something which is definitely in the mind of our government, considering now the decade is said to be for the spiritual tourism. Right, we have seen how the tourism has given a big, I would say, it will be definitely a green PNL for you, Uttar Pradesh, for this year for sure. And
Yeah.
it is already mentioned that some cities where Lord Buddha, right, is associated will definitely be taken care of separately in terms of driving spiritual tourism, especially northeast, right? So I believe this clearly shows the focus of the government that doing capex at the right time plus touching right segments and the right sectors which can take care of overall economy of the states where there is a potential and not explode yet. Do you have any other view for the same?
So
This
see,
kind of initiative.
I think whatever they are doing, when they talk about Udan scheme for
Yeah.
airport connectivity, and when they
Yes.
talk about, right, like you rightly pointed out, incentivizing, say even they've said that even homestays they will incentivize.
Yeah.
There will be rewards and incentives for cleanliness and for promoting tourism in the right way.
Right.
And then, like you
Right.
rightly said, religious tourism. I
Hmm.
think, of course, those observations are bang on, but I think also it does job creation. Very, very important, because like there is real estate. What I
Hmm.
understand is just like real estate, tourism is also a humongous job creator. It creates many
Absolutely.
jobs,
Yeah.
right? So I think it is very, very important for job creation. And you're right. Let's see. I'll give you an example. Now I'm nearing 50, correct?
Hmm.
So in my lifetime, there have been many Kumbh Melas and Mahakumbhs,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
But now see the awareness because of
Yes.
social media,
Because of social
the
media.
digital world. The
Yeah.
awareness is so much that for the first time in my life, I am also going to Prayagraj.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
come for work, but not for kum. I'm
Right.
going to go when this, whole traffic recedes and towards the fag end, I'm also going to go. So what
Yeah.
I'm saying is that someone like you or me, we would not have gone to Prayagraj for religious
Yeah.
tourism,
Of course, of
right?
course.
आपने यूपी का बढ़िया एग्जांपल दिया. In the
Huh.
last 5 years, I've gone to Banaras 3 times.
Right.
Correct. So
Yeah.
what I'm saying, I have friends who go to Banaras every Dev Diwali.
Must
अब
be.
मैं
Yeah.
अब ये 15 साल पहले अवेयरनेस नहीं था. आप भी जानते हैं, मैं भी
Yes.
जानता हूँ, 15 साल पहले ये
Absolutely.
अवेयरनेस नहीं था. ये
Yeah.
मतलब मेरे को नहीं लगता बनारस का डायरेक्ट फ्लाइट भी. आई नो नाउ आई गो फॉर बिजनेस, देयर आर 5 फ्लाइट्स इन अ डे
Yeah.
फ्रॉम बॉम्बे टू बनारस एंड बैक,
Right.
राइट.
Right.
Now I go to Kolhapur for work. It's under the Udan scheme. There are five
Yeah.
flights. I mean, I was sitting on Kolhapur airport. Trust me, Mohit, it was looking like a ST stand from 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh
Kolhapur
my God.
airport looks like a ST stand. इतने लोग वहाँ पे हैं. If you're sitting on Kolhapur airport in the afternoon, you will
Huh.
find Kolhapur to Belgaum, Kolhapur to Tirupati, Kolhapur to Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai. Continuously flights are landing and taking off.
Wow.
From Kolhapur to Mumbai, I was in one of the airline. It was a Embraer aircraft which was flown by a Brazilian pilot.
Oh
Can you
my.
imagine 15 years back you are sitting in India? 15 years back, could you imagine that I'll be sitting on Kolhapur airport in a
Yeah.
Brazilian aircraft flown by a Brazilian pilot
Yeah.
who will give some bhashan for 2 minutes? I'll not understand, but in the end he said namaste. He said namaskar, welcome on board. तो
Yeah.
इतना चेंज होता है. So, I didn't imagine that I'll be going to Banaras 3 times and Prayagraj, right? So it applies to everybody on this call.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
think, Udan scheme, religious tourism, these
Hmm.
things definitely improve the economies, but they create jobs also. And,
Hmm.
connectivity also helps the economies.
Right. Right. Great. Very true. Very true. In fact,
अगर डायरेक्ट फ्लाइट नहीं है, कोल्हापुर में जा ही नहीं सकता हूँ, तो मेरे कंपनी का ऑफिस कैसे खुलेगा उधर?
absolutely. Absolutely.
भाई,
And
हर
I
कोई
think,
तो जाता है ना बस या ट्रेन में.
yeah, totally understand and believe that yes, these kind of opportunities when we see that the train network, right? Recently, a train from Katra to Srinagar, right? Similarly, there are so many Vande Bharat trains have been introduced. I think infrastructure definitely leading to a very good impact on the economy per se overall. Right. There is one more question, Ashish. The second last question per se I will mention. Uh, is there any specific post-budget investment strategy investors should follow?
No, not really. See, Mohit, we are all supposed to run, see, we are not supposed to generate return
Yeah.
by predicting or forecasting
Hmm.
what the budget will say.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to run our portfolio by predicting or forecasting तेल का दाम ऊपर जाएगा, तेल का दाम नीचे जाएगा, ये
Right.
सेक्टर चलेगा, वो सेक्टर नहीं चलेगा. See, ultimately, the simplest thing that any of our listeners can do is just buy the index, right?
Hmm.
That's the simplest thing. Now,
Yeah.
why there are active managers like us? That we have to beat the index.
Yes.
अभी
Yes.
इंडेक्स कैसा है? बंद घड़ी भी दिन में 2 बार सही वक्त दिखाती है, ऐसा इंडेक्स है.
True. True.
इंडेक्स में सब कुछ है.
Yeah.
If I have to beat the index, then I need to
Mhm.
run a portfolio which is representative of the index, has all the elements of the broader market,
Yeah.
but superior stock picking so that I can outperform. Right?
Right.
So,
Get it.
मेरा क्या, maybe given complicated this thing, but what I was trying to tell you is that by seeing the budget, we are not going to make dramatic changes to our portfolio. Portfolio is going to be bottom up.
Okay.
And the budget has done certain things for certain sectors or certain segments
Hmm.
that will definitely change our cash flow assumptions or profitability assumptions for those businesses. So, of course, our research team will be doing whatever updations they need to do to their valuation models or to their hypothesis of the future cash flows. That
Right.
is something which we do as an input into all the research we do, right?
Right. Right.
I don't
Right.
think that Monday morning there'll be dramatic change. Yes,
Absolutely.
certain things, slowly, if certain sectors or certain companies are going to be positively impacted,
Hmm.
slowly it will get factored into our valuation models and into our bottom-up construct of the portfolio. Those things will become overweight in the portfolio.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no drastic or dramatic things just based on you see, budget is a macro announcement. It's
Yes.
not a
Yes.
stock specific bottom up thing. But
Hmm.
when
Hmm.
the things which are said in the budget, we know it will start reflecting bottom up, that will result in overweights, underweights in the portfolio.
Once
But
the
we are
actual will start
Yeah,
happening and the money starts flowing in the market, I believe that is
absolutely.
the time when we see this larger impact. And that is how in the morning also we have seen the market didn't move much, right? By the announcements, and maybe in couple of months, once the execution starts, the actual picture will start coming in. And
Absolutely.
that is what I also feel, Ashish. I believe flexi cap category kind of mutual funds or maybe balanced advantage funds kind of categories will definitely play a very vital role so as to
Absolutely.
consider all the asset classes at one go, because it's very difficult to predict which asset class will perform well. So I believe investors should definitely take care of such kind of categories in their portfolios as of now. Uh, the last question about the direct tax implication again, if you can just give a brief to and make our viewers understand that it is not that up to 12 lakh of salary is exempt and over and above we have to pay taxes. Uh, but there is some confusion that what does that mean if person is having 12 lakh income or 15 lakh income, how the tax will be calculated. So if you can just give a brief about this kind of calculation, so that will be great.
Sure. See, I think two things to be kept in mind. One is that, where people are availing of different types of benefits, the old tax regime,
Yeah.
where you're doing Section 80C and claiming, multiple benefits.
Mhm.
So, whatever the tax, so, there are clearly now two tax regimes, right? One is that either you do all those investments and, follow the old tax regime where you take certain tax rebates and tax exemptions. Then
Yeah.
you follow the old regime, then this new taxation not applicable.
Yeah.
What the government wants is that everybody should just give up on the old regime and move to the new regime so that clean हो जाएगा कि भाई पहले क्या होता था
Yes.
कि आपका इतना इनकम है, आपको इतना
Hmm.
टैक्स भरना है। अच्छा अच्छा,
Hmm.
लेकिन आपने ये इन्वेस्टमेंट किया तो उसका कुछ टैक्स रिबेट भी क्लेम करना है। तो
Hmm.
कुल मिला के आपको टैक्स में इतना रियायत मिला। So it was,
Right.
round about way that government
Yeah.
was incentivizing certain investments. And
Yes.
actually on your
Yes.
income, you're supposed to pay certain tax, but if you make this falana falana investment, then the tax
Hmm.
implication goes down. So it was an indirect thing.
True.
In the new tax regime,
Yeah.
what they are
Hmm.
saying is that ये सब छोड़ दो,
Hmm.
अगर
Hmm.
आपका इतना इनकम है तो आपको इतना टैक्स भरना है, right?
Yeah.
And that has been given a concessional tax. So
Right.
now how it will work is that uh, they have, like 4 lakh, I mean, whatever tax slabs are there, I have kind of noted it down. Basically, 4 lakh, 4 lakh to 6 lakh, these kind of tax
Yeah.
slab.
Every 4 lakh, this is 5% of increment.
Yes, so I just open that, you know, so they have given multiple different levels of
Hmm.
income. And
Yeah.
in those levels of income, they have defined what type of tax rate will be applicable.
Yes.
So in that, what they're saying is that up to 12 lakhs, if your income is up to 12 lakhs, like she specifically said 1 lakh a month,
Yeah.
then net there is no tax. And 75,000 is standard deduction. So basically what people are saying, 12 lakh 75,000 tak आपको टैक्स नहीं भरना है।
Never.
अब क्या होता है कि इन टुडेज वर्ल्ड, लाइक आई वाज टेलिंग यू अर्लियर, इन प्लेसेस लाइक बॉम्बे, पूना एटसेट्रा, वर्किंग कपल, it can be a
Hmm.
really big benefit. The total saving can be fairly
Yes. Yeah.
big, right? So up to 24 lakhs, so in these slabs, uh,
Yeah.
after you cross 24 lakhs, it reaches 30%. See,
Right.
till recently क्या था कि 7 lakhs तक टैक्स नहीं भरना है। I
Yeah.
mean, up to March 2025, the regime is that 7 lakhs तक टैक्स नहीं भरना है।
Yeah.
अब वो 7 lakhs का इन्होंने कर दिया 12 lakhs।
12 lakhs.
इन लाखों की तादाद में जो लोग हैं who are filing returns,
Yeah.
वो सारे, मतलब there are lakhs and lakhs of people
Yeah.
who will be not paying and not having, they'll not be having a tax liability. They'll, of course, everybody should file the return, but they'll not have tax liability.
In fact,
Lakhs and
Ashish, I have a number to it. Just before the session, I was just going through some numbers. Around
yeah,
7.5 crores of tax filings done uh,
yeah,
for the financial year 23-24. Around 6.5 crore uh, tax filings were below 12 lakhs of income, right? So there are just 1 crore of tax filings above 12 lakhs of income. So if we see that same number of tax filing happen for
yeah.
next financial year, so approximately we can see around 80-85% of total tax filings are getting tax exempt that way.
Yeah.
So
So
interesting.
yeah, and like she said, the total thing is 1 lakh crores. The
Hmm.
government, and see, it's not this year only. ये तो अभी क्या है कि unless and until they reverse and increase the tax, तब की बात होगी तब होगी. Otherwise, this is every year.
Yeah, yeah,
सी टैक्स का रिडक्शन करना मतलब ये तो हर साल अब ऐसे ही रहेगा ना. मतलब जिसका भी जो इनकम है उसमें उसको उतना रियायत मिलेगा, वो हर साल मिलेगा ना. इट्स नॉट वन टाइम.
absolutely. Yes,
So
yes.
this is baked in unless they go back and increase the taxes, right? So it's
True.
a big thing.
Great, great. I believe the most exciting part, which Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman also mentioned just at the end, was this personal direct taxes only. And I could see some reactions in our office floor also. People started tapping the table because that is something which brings immediate difference to their life, where people earning up to 12 lakh rupees or maybe around 12 lakhs will start
Yeah,
now getting around 5,000 rupees per month of additional cash flow in their hand. So, assuming approximately 5-6% of appraisal has already been done for them, and that is what excited. So, great, Ashish. I believe our viewers have definitely got some basic insights about this budget and how this budget makes a difference in their life. What exactly they should expect from the budget. It's not only the budget, but there are other factors also, geopolitical factors. There are decisions which were taken a couple of months before, which are expected to happen a couple of months after. Of course, all these factors lead to the market movements. The best thing and the recommendations we always have with the customers is don't just rely on a single market news, because no one can time the market, right? When no
absolutely.
one can time the market, it makes all the difference how long you stay invested. And for those who think the markets are volatile, we should do or no, should definitely read a beautiful article which Ashish has published couple of days before, that how SIPs play a very important role in the down markets. So you can follow Ashish on LinkedIn, I would say. So I'm promoting you for free, Ashish. And Ashish has definitely posted an article around SIP. I really like that article. That definitely give you a very good insight that how uh, continuing your SIP in the down markets will definitely help you to get some better returns in a long run. And that is hold true while you are investing in mutual funds. Time to rebalance, time to relook at your portfolios, do some churning in terms of getting the right mutual fund category in the portfolio. And AMCs like White Oak definitely will bring more good products in terms of customer benefits, and distributor like us will definitely lead you to the right product at the right place in the right time. So with this, thank you all the viewers, and thank you so much, Ashish. Any
Thank
closing
you.
remarks from you?
No, I think, see, the worst in terms of the market behavior from September onwards.
Yeah,
I think, September onwards, if you follow the market behavior, my sense is the worst is behind us, right? I think market has corrected
right.
enough, valuations have become reasonable, and like I said, the moment the dollar stabilizes, you will see a significant recovery in the market. So it's time to start investing. I know last 6 months has been difficult. It's time to
Right.
start investing.
Great, great. I think there's a sale going on for mutual funds and stocks. It's time to buy the stuff at the lower prices rather than waiting for prices to again go up. So thank you so much, Ashish. Thank you for valuable insights. And
Thank
thank
you.
you
Thank
all
you,
the
everyone.
viewers for taking out time. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you.